Hi. In this series of videos, I am recreating an Amy Porterfield page in Kajabi. And we have so far done section 1, this hero section, this freebies and resources. And now I'll show you how to do these next sections, or this. I'm not sure if it's going to be 1 or 3 sections, but where we're showing the courses that she has for offer. So I'm going to make me little and over here. And so this is Amy's page. And then now where we're talking about List Builders Society. So in this section, and just to tell you what I'm seeing, I see this background, this like yellow to seafoam color gradient, which is handy because it's the same background used in the hero section. So that's nice. We already created this gradient in Canva, so we can reuse that down here. There is this little yellow half moon, which I added to this freebies and resources section, but we could add it to this section instead. So that's good. Like, we've already created this half circle. We've already created the gradient. We already learned how to do that background, how to highlight color with some, with a little bit of code. So we've already learned a lot of the elements that we're now going to apply to this section of the page, which will make it easier. So I'm going to close this, move this one over here. Okay, so now we're in Kajabi. We're going to add this new section, add section, and I always just use custom section because I'm going to add everything that I want to it anyway. And I'm going to rename it so I can keep track of my sections. Courses. Okay, so first we want to give it that background, that gradient color that we created. And if we go to background, and I'm going to change media type to image, we should be able to, when you go down to background image, select image, we should be able to select a recent file. It depends how much I've done in Kajabi since then. Okay, yes, and I do have it down here in my recent images. Select. Okay, that's good. And then on her page, this is going to be an image block and a text block. So we will add those 2 elements. And when you add an image, it makes it 10 columns. I'm going to shrink it down because I want these side by side, and the entire page is 12 columns wide. So I have that image, and I will add a text block. Okay, and I know that her text block is white in the background, and there's a bigger margin on the left-hand side here than there is on the right because she's got this image pulled over it. So let's see, we're just going to copy this exact text, paste it in. So here's my text block. I'm going to make it bigger. So when we paste in this copy, it looks fine here, but if you go into source code, and I just know that this is something that's going to happen, there's some like coding here that I don't think is going to work in Kajabi, like on the live page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all this from the source code, and I'm going to re-paste it in, which what that does is strip all the formatting. So then I need to go back in and add the formatting because this is all just one big block of text. So I'm going to go back in and add this kind of formatting to make it look more like this. Let's make it heading 2. 5-week list building course. So the text is black. It's maybe a bigger font, but it has that yellow behind it, which, if you'll recall, we did that higher up on the page where it says freebies and resources. We used a little bit of code to add this background color, that gold background color. So I'm just going to copy that same code, go down here, List Builder Society. And remember, if you're doing code, you need to go into source code. So 5-week, actually, I'm going to add it above. Okay, so instead of freebies and resources, we want it to say 5-week list building course. Okay, so we added that yellow highlighting, and then we want this to be, that background to be white. So I'm going to background, block background color. So this just applies to that text block, not this whole section. And we need to reduce the border radius just to crisp up those corners. I'm going to go to desktop layout, and I want some inside spacing here. You'll notice there's more inside spacing on the left than there is on the top, bottom, or right. So let's see. I'm going to do 30, 80, 30, 80, 30. Okay. And then I'm also going to make this flush because I don't want that, that buffer on the outside. And the last thing I'm going to do here for now is she has these like she has this bulleted list, but she uses these little emojis that are one of those brand colors that we pulled before. So we can just add regular bullets here. Let's highlight this and bullet list, but it's a little bit boring. I'm going to take away the bulleting. So I'm going to try to find little boxes like this, but I want to be able to change the color so that it's one of those brand colors. I sometimes use coolsymbol.com. Okay, I'm going to copy this into Kajabi, paste. Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, actually that works really well. But it's definitely a lighter color. So I want to get exactly this color, which again, I can use my hex code picker, Colorzilla, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit to make it easier to get that exact right color. Turn this on and hover here. Boom. Okay, color copied to clipboard. So I'm going to go back in here. Let's make this bigger. And then highlight that square custom color. And let's get rid of this hash mark. Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. That looks good. So I'm just going to copy and paste that on these other bullet points. Okay, and then we have this enroll now. Let's add that to this text block, call to action. Text color is black, border radius is 0, and I'm going to add an arrow. Let's go back to cool symbol. Here, let's use this one. I pasted that. We will add it to enroll now. You know what I'm noticing actually is that that's the arrow that I really want to be using here. So let's replace these while we're at it. Oh, much better, much better. Okay, cool. So that looks better. Okay, next we need to update this image block so that it's got a mock-up. So let's see. We added the image block. Now we're going to go back to Canva, and I have this freebie mockups. So, and you can search in Canva for mockups. This is just a file that I already have. So if it's a freebie, like a PDF, I use one of these. This is like a full course or video series. It just has more elements. Let's use this one, mini course mockup, because that's probably what like List Builder Society is the closest to. She has this like screen, desktop, laptop, some phone screens. Oh, it's a tablet. So if you have like worksheets or workbooks, you can add screenshots here on these like page PDF files. Just grab some screenshots you would grab them from inside your course. This is not my course, it's somebody else's, but I can just grab some screenshots here for the sake of this demonstration. Okay, and if I were doing this for real, I would make sure that the words weren't cut off, and I would probably actually open up the course like on my phone or tablet and get so that the like formatting works for these images, but I'm not going to spend my time doing that. This isn't even my course. I'm going to download this as a PNG with a transparent background so that it can go onto the page. See how it has this transparent background here? That's what we want. So we're going to download it. Okay. So now this is very confusing because it says List Builder Society and now this says Workshop Wins. It's very confusing, but that doesn't matter. It's just, this is good practice. Okay, and I know that this is too small here. I want to preview and see, because sometimes it always looks a little bit different. We definitely want to, let's see, make this bigger. So the text block is 6, the image block right now is 6, but I want to see, I know if we move it to 7, it's going to bump the text to a different row, but I'm trying to get that overlay where the image goes over the text block. So we can do outside spacing like -200. Okay, so it's overlaid, but just not in the way I want it to be. Let's see what it looks like on the page. Oh, okay, cool. So it looks, it's not quite right yet, but we're getting there. Okay, what I'm gonna do is make this, instead of 200, actually let's just make it 150. Okay, and we need more of a margin on that left-hand side of this text block. So inside spacing was 80. Let's make it 150. Okay, that actually, I think that looks pretty good. Let's see. So a couple things there. This is like pretty high up on this section. So we need to reduce the desktop padding and we want to pull this half circle down a little bit. So in desktop layout, desktop padding right now is 100. We'll try 40. Okay. And then this little half moon, we want to bring down. We want to pull this one down. So outside spacing, let's say -50. Okay. So it looks good on here when we're in the editor. Let's see what it looks like on the live page. Okay, I still want to adjust this a little bit. Let's see, I'm gonna make this flush so it's bigger. Okay, let's try this. 6, I'm making this a little bit smaller and the text a little bit bigger. And I'm gonna move the outside spacing, let's move it up -200. Here, let's add, I'm just gonna make this bold. Is that what okay, right now that's H5. I'm going to make it H4. Okay. Okay. So this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. I could play around with this for like days, but that's not a great use of my time. So we're just going to move on. So let me see. I'm going to back up. This is courses. Courses is the name of this section. Okay, so she has, then it looks like these, we can just duplicate these sections and then flip-flop them on the page because they're all about the same size. Okay, let's just duplicate these sections. So I'm going to duplicate and duplicate. Okay, but we want to flip-flop them. And then because we flip-flopped them, you know what, I'm going to call this one number 1. And because we flip-flopped the text and the image, we need to flip-flop the padding that's around these. So desktop layout, we had 150 and 30. We'll change this to 30 and 150. Okay, right? And then we want to pull this image over there. So I'll click in there, click into the image. So instead of 150 here, we're going to do 0 and -150. And we need some space between these two. Let's see what it looks like right now on the live page. So outside spacing right now is 0. We'll make it 100. Maybe bump this down, this image a little bit. Instead of being up -200, we'll make it up -100. And now to create the third section, I'm going to duplicate the first section elements, because then I know that they're going to be, the layout is going to be right with the image on the left and the text on the right. I need to add some padding above the text block. Did 100. Oh yeah, and then this, we're gonna make -100. So we have all the courses. We've got the course section. Next, let's see, we'll add this little half circle here and this one testimonial. I'll add a section for that. So the background color here, I'm going to use my Colorzilla hex code picker. I know that I did this earlier when I figured out all the colors being used on this page, but sometimes it's just easier to do it again. So we're going to go to background. Background color is whatever that is. And then we will add what it looks like here is a graphic, a text block, and then another graphic for that scripted font where it says Mel Robbins. So we will add a little image. It's going to be smaller than that. And I want to make sure to put it on its own row so that when I add the text, they don't end up on the same row. Text, probably 6 is good. And then let's just clone this because it's going to be, I want the scripted font on its own row. Also, custom section, we're going to rename this testimonial. Let's make sure that it's centered. And then, let's see, I just want to preview. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I think 8 columns wide is probably good. And then, so we want to recreate this little graphic and this one too. So I'm going to go back to Canva. And we can reuse this because we have that half circle we already created. I'm going to clone it. And then we want to get that seafoam color here is going to be our background color. So I'm going to grab that hex code, change this one, and then find a little quote thing. It's good. Yeah. This down a little bit. Okay, let's add a page, and then I'm going to change this to a scripted font, handwriting. Here, let's try this. Okay, so we changed it to that Brittany font, make it bigger. So now I'm going to download 2 and 3 as transparent PNGs. Okay, and then I think I want to tighten this up a little bit. Just squish the padding down, desktop padding, and maybe make the quote graphic closer to the words. Let's see, let's say 50, 50. And then let's refresh this page. Yeah, that looks awesome. Okay, so that is enough for now. So now we have to do this and then this kind of social like engagement reminder section thing at the bottom. And then we'll be done with this page.